Hi there, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Khalid, also known as Tekans Online. I'm a freelance artist and animator based in the Netherlands. And in this video, I will be drawing in my sketchbook and sharing the process with you, while also answering some questions from you guys. If you like to draw as well, feel free to grab your sketchbook and draw along with me. Hyacinthus.art asks, what's your favorite thing to draw when you don't know what to draw? My favorite thing to draw is definitely characters. If I don't know what to draw, I'll just draw a character or a creature. Especially if I'm feeling a little bit blocked artistically, then creatures is like the easier way to go because they're very simple in their design. It can be like little ghosts or just like little stars with faces, just very simple things. Ari asks, what made you realize that you wanted to draw art? I think it's never really been a realization because I always liked to draw in the first place. I think I've been drawing for as long as I can remember, so it's always been something that I enjoyed. But to do art professionally, I realized that when I was a teenager, around like 14, 15, I watched this show called Naruto and got very inspired to pursue my dreams of making art. But yeah, just making art in general is something that I always enjoyed. A question from Daniel Huss is, what dish could you eat every day for dinner for a month? I have a very simple answer to this. I really love curry, specifically chicken curry. I like Indian curry, I like Thai curry. I think those two are my favorite ones, and I would definitely eat that with rice every single day. Ben NY19 asks, what is your main inspirations for your characters? I'm not really sure if I have like main inspirations because I have a lot of different inspirations, but maybe music would be one of those inspirations if I had to pick. I like hyperpop music and similar electronic music a lot, like glitchcore, breakcore, and that kind of stuff. Whenever I'm drawing, like 99% of the time I'm listening to that kind of music. Yeah, there's just like a lot of different artists that I follow on Instagram that inspire me. Anime, I would say, is also a big inspiration. I used to watch a lot of anime, sometimes I still watch anime. I really like Mob Psycho, for example, and also Tekken King Creed, which is an anime movie that I really like. I also really love Masaki Yuasa, he made a lot of cool works as well. Yeah, those are just some of my inspirations. Rick Drippled asks, what's something on your bucket list that you're planning to do this year? I'm planning to make a bunch of new products, ranging from stamps, shirts, washi tape, memo pads, a lot of stationery products. So that's kind of like on my bucket list or goals list, to just make a bunch of new products for my brand. At my part-time job, I'm planning to host 4 Friday Night Lab events and organize them. They're very fun. It's like a creative evening for creative people. Also, if any of you guys are in the Netherlands, the next one is on March 6th. So feel free to drop by if you're in the Netherlands. And also you, Rick, feel free to drop by because I know you live pretty close by. I'm also planning to really like get consistent with YouTube this year. So the videos that you're seeing now, I've been thinking of making YouTube videos for years, but kept kind of procrastinating and not doing it. This year, I really want to lock in and make 2 YouTube videos every month. So at least 24 videos this year. That's also like on my bucket list or goal list. Stefka32 asks, what or how did you come up with the style? The good question, I don't really know. I think it's just a result of a lot of repetition and practice. I've been drawing for like a long time, like over 10 years, almost every day. My style changed a lot over the years as well. I have this tendency that when I practice and I find something or I create something that I like, I tend to redraw it a lot of times. And I think that really helps in solidifying your style. So if you are personally looking to find your art style or develop your own art style, I would recommend just practicing a lot, and then if there's things that you create that you find interesting, try to just make those again and again and again and make like variations of them, because that way you can find out something that is like unique to you. Alana asks, how do you draw and create things from your imagination? I would say inspiration is a really big part of it, so consuming a lot of art and consuming a lot of things that you like will give you ideas to create. And also after practicing for a long time and creating like your own ideas or your own variations to existing ideas, you can start to use those ideas for new ideas as well. So if you came up with a new character, for example, then Maybe after drawing it so many times, you'll like imagine that character in like a music video or in a situation or in a specific art style. I would say that's also a way to create things from imagination. I guess summed up the combination of getting inspired and also practicing a lot and experimenting and testing out, trying to create what you're fascinated by. Alea asks, how do you animate? What app do you use? And how do you come up with your OCs? What kind of apps do you use for drawing and what kind of pencil do you use in the apps? So right now I mainly use Procreate. I really like drawing on my iPad. It's also where I animate. Procreate has like a very simple animation function where you can turn on the timeline and it turns into like an animation pipeline kind of thing. And the pencils that I use in the apps, I like a bunch of different ones. Inca is one of the brushes that I used to use a lot and still use every now and then. And now recently Procreate has like a new library of a lot of cool brushes that I also love to use. And how I come up with my OCs is, I guess, a bit tied to the previous question as well, where it's just a combination of a lot of different ideas that I'm inspired by, different artworks, different artists, and then kind of practicing and trying out ideas inspired by that. I often see my art as like a blender of different ideas, and then just repetition as well, just practicing a lot, redrawing your characters, redrawing existing characters. I think starting by sort of like copying or like getting very heavily inspired by other artists is a great way to get started. That's also how I got started. I used to draw like anime characters like all the time. It was just like all fan art, but at some point I started exploring different art styles and creating my own characters. I think it really comes from experimenting. What site do you use to get your stickers, or are they self-made? I currently make my stickers through multiple places, sometimes through Alibaba manufacturers. If you just look up like sticker sheet or stickers, you can find anything you like there. I also use some Dutch printing companies like Print and Bind to make simple stickers with like a round shape or a square shape. I used to print the stickers at home, and before that I would also print them at my school. If you have a printer where you can use sticker paper, you can buy sticker paper online and then print your stickers on that sticker paper and then cut it out by hand. That's kind of the way I did it for many years. Sticker app is also a site that I've used in the past. Harmful Angel 5581 asks, how did you get into animation and what is the animation industry like? I think I got into animation because of anime and Naruto mainly. I was very inspired by that. It didn't directly make me want to study or do animation, but I was just very fascinated and inspired by this whole medium. And of course, also growing up with cartoons, I was really into Pokemon, for example, but I would honestly just watch anything, any cartoon that was on TV, from like Dora the Explorer to My Life as a Teenage Robot. Like I loved all cartoons as a kid. I think like somewhere during the beginning of like university, I realized that animation was something that you could actually pursue. Before that, I didn't really know that was like possible for me. So it took me quite a long time to actually realize that animation is something that I could do. I actually started out with illustration in my first year of art school, and I was 18 at the time. And there was also an animation department, but I was very unfamiliar with this concept of animation as a study. But once I saw the department and actually followed some classes there as well, I realized that it was actually really interesting. I later dropped out from that school and had a gap year and then reapplied at a different school where I studied animation and finished with a bachelor's. I'm not really working actively in the animation industry because I've never really worked for a studio. I just work as a freelance animator. Sometimes I make music videos or animated scenes for music videos or other animations for like promotional content and that kind of stuff. My experience with doing that is that it's very fleeting. I really enjoy making music videos for clients, but I don't really get a lot of requests, and you have to get like a little bit lucky, or there has to be like a good chance, and there's also a lot of competition. So yeah, that's pretty much my experience. I think I would definitely love to work on more animated projects in the future, or maybe even work for a studio or start my own animation studio. But for now, that's all like a little bit vague, and I first want to pursue some other things, so we'll see where it goes. Jay asks, how do you approach making vinyl figures of your characters if you do? Is there any way to do that on a smaller scale by yourself, or do you always need to outsource? I once made a vinyl figure in collaboration with Ketchum, who is a really great artist who makes a lot of vinyl figures. He mostly did like the communication and manufacturing part, and also like the 3D model, I basically just made like the character design, and he turned that into a 3D model, and then he sent that to a manufacturer to produce. I'm not sure which specific manufacturer that was, but it was a Chinese manufacturer. I think if you look on Alibaba, you will find a lot of manufacturers that make either vinyl toys, but also like plastic toys or like rubber toys, PVC, 3D printed. There's a lot of cheaper options as well. And I also know that some people just 3D print their own toys. So that's also an option. A 3D printer is not too expensive. I think like cheap ones are like 100 to 200 euros. There's also like places where you can use 3D printers. Those are just some ways to get started. I personally, I'm not very technical, so I made a lot of clay figurines in the past because I was also very much into toy making, but I don't really know how to 3D model properly. So I just used clay a lot, and that was really fun for me. But it really depends on which direction you would want to go. So that's pretty much the finished result of the drawing. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any suggestions for future videos, feel free to comment. I'm checking all the comments. I really appreciate the support. And yeah, thanks again for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye.